This isn't the World Cup Finals recap I wanted to give, but here we are. Most of you already saw what happened, but I want to take some time and show you the car, talk about my experience, and show some appreciation for everyone that's reached out, helped, donated. I don't think without you guys in the community, I would probably just pack it up and not worry about trying to fix this mess. There was just a lot of time and money involved in repairing this car. Also, thanks God for watching over me, watching over Joel. By the grace of God, we walked out. I mean, I'm here talking. There's not a broken bone in my body, and I'm pretty sure Joel's the same way. So it's kind of a miracle, and thanks to God for watching over us. And I think He has a plan for me and for everyone. And as far as the race goes, Wednesday I did one test pass, so it was like an extra cost to do a test run, and it wasn't anything spectacular. The car started spinning and kind of veered right, almost similar to what Joel did. I don't think it's anything with the track. It was just the run and how it happened. After that, I actually had to pull the trans because something broke in the slave cylinder, an O-ring popped, and it started leaking fluid out. So I had to spend the rest of the day trying to find an O-ring and pull the trans out and fix it. So I didn't get another chance at a shot until qualifying Thursday, which is when this incident happened. So qualifying round one, I mean, we were in the staging lanes, and I was parked kind of close to Joel, but it's really hard to tell who you're running because there's golf carts and smart cars pushing cars, so you really don't know who you're running until the last second. I was actually talking to Joe. He's lost a lot of weight. I was telling him how good he looked, not knowing what was coming, and but I was even racing him, which brings me to my next point. When it came to make the run, I didn't even pay attention to who I was racing. And I think I did my burnout before Joel did, so I never saw his car. I never saw him. I staged the car, started making my run, and before this happened, the car actually started to spin a little bit. And I was either in the middle of or about to just let off the throttle and coast or try to regain traction before I got hit. And then it was just darkness, probably because the hood flew open and blocked all my view. Flash of lights, sparks flying. But I felt pretty solid and strapped in the car. I started using a Hans device finally, which I never used in my silver car. The cage in this car is way more serious than the other car, so I mean, I felt fine from what I remember. And then I started making some dumb mistakes in the car. So you're so used to racing, and when you finish a run, the first thing you're trying to do is take your helmet off because you don't want to bang it up getting out of the car, and it's just uncomfortable. So I'm sitting in the car, trying to get my helmet off, and I'm not used to the Hans and the clips. So I'm like, it's kind of hard to breathe with all the fumes, and I'm panicking, trying to get the helmet off. I partially got it off, and then tried to open the door and realized that this door doesn't open. So then I started climbing to the other side, opened the passenger door, and got out. Then I started, looking around, and I saw that it was Joel who hit me, and he was stopped. And I think at that point he might have been out of the car already too. And then all the emotions set in of, I can't believe this happened. This is what my family feared of. Going racing, that something bad would happen to me or the car. I mean, the car's not as sad as something happening to me. But once I got out of the car, the track officials are already there trying to put out some fire that I didn't even see that was behind the car underneath it. I think it was just a puddle of fuel that was burning. Joel walked over to me, and I mean, I don't remember exactly anymore, but he said he was sorry. He was shocked just like me. He doesn't know what happened exactly and why he lost control of his car, but I think it was, if I was in the same shoes, I wouldn't save it either. Those situations when you either break something or you spin the tire and you go from 100 miles an hour to 150 in the rear wheel speed, it's really hard to keep that under control. The ambulance person came over, started having me sign some papers, making sure I was okay, asking if I needed to be checked out, but I felt perfectly fine. it was interesting because somebody else came over and started scraping off the certification off the cage, just like things that I never thought happened. But I think that's protocol for getting the cage recertified after a situation like this. Um, then they couldn't open the door, this door for some reason, so they tried, they were ripping it open and trying to put the steering wheel on because they're trying to get it off the track to, get other people going as fast as they could. So I actually had to help put the steering wheel back on because that thing's kind of annoying and tricky. I don't really blame them. And then opening the trunk too, I had to get the key, open the trunk, just so they can make sure that nothing was on fire in the fuel cell. So some of you might know the history about this car. It was originally Jamie Carter's car, built by Don and his team at Accelerated Performance. Back when I was a teenager, just getting into cars, I always followed this car and went to TX2K and put GoPros on it and followed their progress with it, along with Jamie's other cars and some shenanigans at TX2K. So I went pretty far back with this thing, and I never imagined that one day I would own it. So when the opportunity came up, and I picked it up and thought I'd make a safer stick shift car, as opposed to my silver car, which I didn't want to make any more race car than it already was, and it wasn't as safe as this one. So when I bought it, it kind of ran, but everything had to be redone on it. The whole fuel system, I put a different long block in it, obviously a different transmission for stick shift racing, rewired the whole car, all the electronics, went from Fuel Tech that was on it to Motec M150 Pro Drag firmware. So a couple hundred hours in just the wiring, not counting all the coolant system and fuel system that I redid, and the friends that have helped me at National Speed and elsewhere that have been part of it as well. As far as the damage on the car, right now it's probably the most I've looked at it since I've been back, and it's just in my garage on dollies, so it really needs to be put up on a lift and taken apart and inspected. But the rocker panel probably looks the worst to me, so that got pushed in almost up to the cage, and the cage looks fine. There's a couple scratches on it, I think from the door just hitting it, but it looks pretty solid and not bent to me, although I'm not a chassis guy, so this is just my opinion from glancing at it. Obviously the rear quarter buckled a little bit, the door jamb area is mangled. I'm not sure behind the door where it bolts up. I mean, both fenders need to be replaced. At least one of the wheels is bent. Tires, front suspension probably needs to be double checked and replaced or redone. A new hood, which I'd be looking for the same type of hood. I really like how that one looks. The front end, obviously, there's no bumper left. It's disintegrated somewhere in the track. I've never even seen parts of it. Coolant system needs to be redone. Intercooler system. Turbo looks okay. Precision was kind enough to offer a free rebuild if it needs it. I think the compressor cover just got bent a little bit where we welded it, but that's still yet to be determined. Most of the turbo kit needs to be redone, the charge piping. Throttle body ripped off the intake manifold, so if you watch one of the videos closely, you can actually hear the car like sitting on a rev limiter until I kill power inside of it. It's probably because it had no throttle body attached anymore. And as far as the engine goes, it was running, but I'm not certain if it maybe ingested any bolts or anything that could have damaged it. So Don offered to go through the engine as well and make sure that that's good to go once the car is fixed up. The roof, it's hard to tell because the paint kind of buckled and peeled off, but I'm not sure if it's wavy or buckled up there yet. The passenger side, rear wheel is a little bit scratched up. The rocker panel's a little bit banged up, but obviously nowhere near as bad as the driver's side. The frame rails don't look very straight, so this passenger side is going to the right, and then the driver's side is way up, and it's buckled. A bunch of stuff here. The engine looks pretty crooked in here as well, so definitely tweaked some stuff. It's still attached to the front plate and the rear or mid plate, but I'm sure that stuff got moved around quite a bit. Exhaust manifold looks okay, but again, it needs to be taken off. Make sure it didn't crack anywhere or break. Headlights, pretty obvious there. It never leaked any oil out, which is good. So it had oil pressure the whole time. However, the coolant system and all the fuel leaked out from the fuel cell. That needs to be redone on this corner here. The wiring looks okay for the most part. I'm sure some things got pulled out, maybe a little worn, but just from glancing at it, it either looks repairable or still okay, which is a huge plus. The fire looked bad, but it went out pretty quick, so I don't think anything actually got severely damaged from burns. A couple of the lines in the back underneath the car are melted, but besides that, nothing too crazy. The front fuel cell area probably got a little toasty as well, where the Motec, the wideband controller is, and boost solenoid and a couple other things that were behind the fender. Although the fire went out pretty quick, that's probably one of the scariest things, because breathing, even just the fumes, is scary and difficult. And I actually ordered this fire suppression kit from Tin Soldiers a week or two before the event. I just didn't get around to installing it. But again, by the grace of God, I didn't have to use it, which is great. So at a quick glance, those are kind of the things I see. I'm sure you guys will notice other things that I missed or something more serious than I made it seem. But obviously I'll be looking for rocker panel, rear quarter panel, that type of hood or anything else that you see in the video to try and fix this car. I already have James Davis that donated some carbon doors, so that part's taken care of, and again, a huge thanks to him. Follow along as I work on this thing. I think the next step is going to be taking it to National Speed, where we'll have one of the guys at the shop put in the lift and inspect it further and start taking the engine out and taking it apart to get a better idea what we're working with. And then after that, it'll go to a frame machine locally in Wilmington just to put on the frame machine and see how tweaked it really is, and hopefully have them tell me that it's fixable, or they can at least fix that part of it. Again, thank you to everyone who supported and helped me throughout this past week and ever since this happened. I launched a website, tunedbyvlad.myshopify.com, where I'm selling some merchandise, posters, toy cars, and a couple other things that I'll be adding soon. So you can check that out. All the proceeds from that will go to bringing this car back to life and fixing everything. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.